Hi, Gods and Medicine PlayStation and Medic Maniac YouTube. So, I have a bit to talk about. And it all hinges on, trying to buy a game. As we do, as gamers, we have to go and buy a game, that we want to play. Otherwise we can't play it, shockingly. So the game in question that I wanted to buy is called Visions of Mana, and it's only just come out. And if you look at the PlayStation storefront under new games and you just look at the games that are being promoted without actually searching for it, you won't see it because it's not, I don't know if it's not prominent enough to be put there. So I didn't want to buy it digitally anyway. I downloaded the demo of Visions of Mana on my PlayStation 5, and I wanted to play the game, and I was interested to play the game because I've been interested in playing Final Fantasy games. So I'm interested in Square Enix's recent output, and I've had a look at, the history of their games and what people think of them and what the community generally thinks of different iterations. I've got Final Fantasy 13 on my old Xbox 360, and I picked up Final Fantasy 15 for absolute peanuts for my PS4, and I got the DLC all cheap in a sale and stuff, so I got bargain on that. My daughter played it and she really enjoyed it. And I picked up 16 on my PS5, and I picked up the 7 remake and rebirth and all that. So I'm going to be getting stuck into that. But I really liked and I was really drawn to the art style of the Mana games because I love all that stuff, all the cartoonic sort of stuff. I've been playing games for a long time and I've seen lots of different styles and things like that. So I'm kind of getting into them. I do like Xenoblade on Nintendo consoles, on the Wii and the Wii U and the Switch and stuff. I love the Xenoblade games, so I like JRPGs. So I tried to buy Visions of Mana because it's just come out and I wanted to buy the Steelbook version. So a physical copy is what I wanted. So I went to my local game store, that's called Game, that sells games, shockingly. And I couldn't see it. So I asked the man behind the counter if we could get hold of a copy of Visions of Mana at all. So he had a little look, and he didn't have it. And the shop had not been sent it by their suppliers. A new game. They had Star Wars Outlaws. That's not doing very well, is it, in sales? Gamers don't particularly want that. They're not very happy with Ubisoft, and Ubisoft sales are tanking. Yeah, that's going to be a thing to talk about. But anyway, no Visions of Mana. So he had a look to see if a game shop near there might have it. I'd have to get on a train and have a train ride, but I didn't really mind that. I really wanted the game. I wanted to play the game. I still get excited about games. I love the art style and the style of game that the Mana games are, and I was very excited for Visions of Mana. So I didn't mind the train ride, but their shop in another town had not been sent a copy as well. Now, interestingly enough for me, because I like to keep up with what's going on in the world, and I ask questions and I go find out, and I don't trust everybody, so I go find out my own things. So I tend, the scary thing about asking questions is sometimes you find answers. So bear that in mind if you ever ask questions, because you might just find them. Well, I found some. I watched a video by a guy called RGT. I'm going to be showing screenshots of his channel in a bit coming up, but I watched a guy called RGT85, and he talks about a video game crash, and he talks about physical sales and physical copies because there's a big push for digital. And the thing about physical copies is, even among young people see the value of physical copies. For example, I've talked about this before with digital games. Sometimes you can get a digital download for a game, but the licenses will run out and then they'll have to pull it, so it won't be supported. If you've got a physical disc, you can pop your disc in and play it anytime, but a digital copy, no. The other thing is, there's a big push on censorship these days. So digital stuff is patched. So sometimes you might have a game and then at some point it'll be censored, or parts of it will be censored. Well, I'm not an advocate for censorship. I think censorship's a very dictatorial bad thing. So I'm completely against censorship. So yeah. The other thing about digital copies is that digital things can be controlled. If you've got a physical copy of something, well, it's yours. So if there are physical games that I have that I don't need to be connected to the net for to play, but the digital stuff, sometimes it doesn't work quite like that. So I much prefer physical copies. And here we have a situation where there's a game, it's just come out, there's a customer who's very excited, and they walk into a shop that should sell physical copies of games, but they can't. So RGT85 had talked about this scenario and the video game crash that he's been talking about. And what he found was the suppliers, because you have to have a middleman, somebody between the publisher and the retailer to supply the games. And that changed. In the last few years, that changed. And there you had problems with shops not being able to get physical copies and not selling them, you know, because you can't sell what you can't get. And that means that for a customer, they might be forced to look at downloading it digitally instead. So I asked the man behind the counter in game if the suppliers of game had changed in the last few years, because I mentioned this story, and he said yes. In other words, for our physical shops today, for new games, it is being controlled by other people to not have them available for customers in order to push digital sales. Right, that's what's going on. Well, I went somewhere else to another physical shop and I'm ordering it from there instead. I just can't get over the fact that I couldn't get it from a game shop called Game. What is going on? So here is RGT85's channel. I do check him out. I watch him. I watch all his videos and stuff. So if you are like me and you like to keep up with things going on in the video game world and opinions of people, check him out. He's a really, really cool dude, and he's quite down to earth guy. So this is the video in question that I watched, where he talked about the change in the middleman, the change in the supplier to the retailers, and how that affected the sales of video games, and how that means that they're trying to push digital. So before I go, I've got one more thing to show, and I absolutely recommend that anybody interested checks out this guy. Okay, so this guy, his channel is called Songgrand Studios, and this video is a speech that he did to the gaming industry about the shutdown of Concord and about politics being forced into video games. Now, personally, I ask questions about things that I've seen, and I've gone looking and I've shockingly found answers. like I said, be careful. If you ask questions, you might find answers. So, politics are being shoved into games, in a lot of games, and I've noticed it, and a lot of other people have noticed it, and we're sick of it. And that's why Concord's failed. That and a few other things. So and I absolutely recommend going to this guy's channel and checking out this video right here. You can see what it's called, I don't need to tell you. Brilliant video, brilliant speech to the industry, that as gamers we have had enough and we're not going to take it anymore. So the push to digital is a real thing. I couldn't actually buy a physical copy of a new video game from an actual video game shop again. But I am getting Visions of Mana. It's not going to be a Steelbook edition. So yeah, that's my little video today. Take care. I'll catch you soon.